What is going on, family? What is going on? Welcome back to DXP Crypto. And it's lovely, crazy day, actually. But we are going to be in a strong sell for Bitcoin at 89. Let me just update the screener here. But yo, it looks like Trump's going after he's not done with Greenland. And it has been a devastating day. I mean, we saw this coming from a mile away. Absolutely. Nothing here surprises me. What is going on, Michael? Mr. Gerard in the building. How you doing, bro? Hope you are doing well, man. But I think there's a lot of, I'm seeing the absolute meltdown. And we did actually explain why some of this stuff is going to continue to happen. And I'm not surprised. But to panic to the levels we're seeing, to be fair, if you look at any decent crypto chart, you'll notice that apart from these precious metals, nothing in the market is absolutely doing anything of significance. So we are technically will be, and I have been for a while in a bear market for altcoins. However, you are seeing some, obviously, gainers. It's a collective doom, and that's one of the things I really hate about crypto. It is a collective doom. I mean, there's no strategy behind it. My strategy is plant a seed and just forget it. The research is the hard bit, of course. If you look at this over the last 24 hours, you do have significant movers in the market. And again, regardless of where the prices are right now or where they could go, if you are on the dollar cost averaging train, I'm not going to scare anyone. My thesis is quite simple. You either hold your cryptos or you sell your cryptos and you try and time the market. For most normal people, it's all about dollar cost averaging. And right now, I do believe there is the heavens have kind of lined up for us in the sense that we are in a situation where if we do go down, it will just be a nice continuous paycheck to paycheck DCA. Think about it. Yo, big man's in the building. So we got Michael Gerard in the building, of course. We've got Hassan, my brother there, sick and tired of Trump, of course. And we've got my brother Madman. How are you, bro? God bless you, man. I'm so happy. I was reading your post today, earlier today in the Discord, and it was brilliant stuff. I think I can even share some of that. Big day, actually. We had some decent listings. Guys, when I tell you, don't panic. Honestly, if you believe in certain projects, right, here's what's going to help you the most. What's good, Ram? What is good? Yeah, sick and tired of Trump. Man, nuclear remote control, of course. This man, look, he's been in for 12 months. We'll get to H-bar as well, Michael. But honestly, guys, if the only job we have is good to see you too, brother. The only job we have is to be able to identify what projects we want to kind of dollar cost average to, because I do believe we will ultimately come and take over these precious metals. If you look at gold, silver, today, I mean, so analysts are saying gold could hit nearly $10,000, which is wild if you think about it. But look at this, gold here tapped the, just under $5,000. But when you see, I did a report on Sunday, and when you see, look at palladium, which was actually lagging the others. But look at that, it's kind of like, it's quite obvious, isn't it? You've got this kind of pattern move since November here. Precious metals are going together. Platinum is also going parabolic, just under $2,500. So we are seeing risk off environment, and no one's actually talking about the reasons why these are rallying. But the truth is, whether Bitcoin goes back to $50,000 or not, that's not the point right now. Nobody can actually tell you. If we're being honest, it's like when we move up, we're euphoric, and when the price declines a little bit, that's it. It's all over. And I think that is the worst state of mind to be at. And like I said, there are opportunities to be able to, pick up some really, really good projects on the down low. And this is like, just listed on Coinbase. This is ZBEC. Long term, if you believe in this project. And it's interesting, they attended Davos. You can actually watch the chart and dollar cost average into it. Kaspa is another one. We can talk about many of these different projects. But I think what's happening here is we are getting a generational opportunity in this crypto bear market, and that's what it's been. If you look at the chart, so if we look at specifically, and that's why there's no pressure. There shouldn't be any pressure on you. What you can do is to identify, say, 4 or 5 assets, set your stall, look at the charts, and if Bitcoin goes below $80,000, go start DCAing into it. If not, then you wait for your psychological levels. Nobody can actually time this market. It's incredibly difficult. If you look at this, Bitcoin just under $90,000, or it's actually climbed above $90,000 now, right? So will we see a dead cat bounce, or is this a continuation of the pattern? We can look into this further. We can analyze all day. But ultimately, I did post some really, really important, kind of like really important levels, important details today. So you can see this sell-off here. I mean, this is obviously a wick that's been eaten back up. And we are back into trend, which is kind of weird, right? Like if you see that sell-off here, and here's the 4-hour time frame, of course, and you can see this candle's been eaten back up into pattern. 87,000, everybody was like, fuck, it's all over. It could still, look, we could still come all the way down. The MicroStrategy average, I think they bought another 12,000 or 22,000 Bitcoin yesterday. They announced it anyway. Their first buy since the 12th of January. So let's have a look at their average now. I think it's $75,000. And prior to these purchases, it was around $74,000. So MicroStrategy went in and put in another significant bid yesterday, I believe. So strategy is interesting, because if you look at their overall holdings, right, they keep on going up. It doesn't give, Michael Saylor doesn't give a shit about bear markets, right? So these are some important metrics. So balance went up, and the average cost is also gone up to almost $76,000, which is actually quite nice. That purchase yesterday was pretty significant. And Trump doing the right thing, giving Americans a chance to buy the dips, no taxes over. Fantastic, Peter. You know what? DCAing, I honestly believe you can only plant your way into wealth. None of this panic mode, on and off psychology. That doesn't matter. And I keep saying this consistently to people. While you're scared over time, of course, have your psychological buy prices. Like, for example, I've been accumulating Tau. At under 200, I'll buy some more, and then I'll wait. If it breaks 160, I'll buy some more. Then I'll wait. If it breaks 125, buy a little bit more. It's easy, but have a look at this. I mean, why does he want? By the way, Davos was absolutely spectacular. And what up, caveman? Yeah, Peter, that's spot on, brother. And caveman is in the building as well. What's good, my brother? This is going to be the last, way longer cycle. Yeah, look, 4-year business cycle is gone, right? I mean, sorry, 4-year crypto cycle is done out here. There's no more. But we've got to be, I mean, we're seeing precious metals go again. They went in 2025, the worst year for a bull market. Then we've got Bitcoin now doing crazy, mad swings. Liquidations have been astronomical. Then we've got Michael Saylor and Strategy with an average of nearly 76,000 now after their 22,000 BTC purchase, right? You could see here, they acquired 22,000, which is insane, right? Like, if you really think about it. So, last reported. I was waiting for this one, actually, because what I'm doing now is a lot more. I'm looking at on-chain, so the sentiment doesn't really matter to me. But regardless, we got to talk about our boy Trump. We got to talk about international relations. We got to go a bit on the geopolitics side, because that's kind of important. It's an important subject. But for those of you who don't know, right, people have been saying Mark Carney has now become the leader of the free world. But I've known this man for a long time, not personally, whilst delivering a hell of a speech. I mean, this was the globalist, marks an end to Canada's era of American subordination. But let me tell you who this man is. This man, before his election, obviously they wanted somebody different from Trudeau. I'm not into Canadian politics, but this was the central bank governor of England. That's the last time I remember this guy. And he's probably learned one or two things while he was over in the UK. But because you got to admit, Prime Minister's question time is of a higher standards in terms of grilling politicians than anything else. So this man's a globalist. He's been, I think he was the head of the Canadian Central Bank. Then he was the head of the Bank of England. I don't think this guy had a political life. I don't think this guy is ever elected into anything. In any case, when you have Trump riling up people, and this is what I like about Trump. I'm not going to lie. Look, at the end of the day, since he came in, we've got the meme coin anniversary. Trump's meme coin anniversary. It just hit 1 year. It's probably the darkest 1 year, the darkest 12 months that we've seen in recent times. I mean, none of these levels of manipulations have ever been possible in crypto, whether it was kind of, because of Gary Gensler oversight. But we saw massive market manipulations, because it is ultimately what Trump is he's a businessman. I can see similarities between him and this guy, but this guy is, Mark Carney was the governor of the first ever foreign governor for the Bank of England. And great speaker. And I think he probably got Trump's attention. So it is almost funny now, they saying at the World Economic Forum, he delivers such a spectacular speech for the globalists, and they love it. And they're like, this is now the leader of the free world. But let me tell you something, the leader of the free world will always come out of the United States, the world's largest economy. And I have proof for you. And this is, again, you don't have to take sides, and you've got to think about this in more rational way. So let me tell you what I mean, right? Because sometimes we look at these things and quite simply, it's either orange or blue. And the answer is not any side, any politics, or anything like that. I think there's bigger forces at play. And this is what I wrote today. And I think it could be a point of discussion. Maybe you guys will agree with me on some of the aspects. Maybe some of them I've got slightly wrong. But it's not just about this. So first of all, you've got to read this right. The Triffin dilemma is a famous term in international economics, right? Coined by Robert Triffin in the 1960s, described as the process of establishing a country's currency as the world's main reserve currency. So this is the battle. This is actually where this is what's happening. And yes, we are focused on altcoins and the daily movements of Bitcoin, but I'll come on to Bitcoin in a minute, because there is a problem for Bitcoin in the sense that Bitcoin hasn't matured as an asset. Gold is 30 trillion plus asset. So Bitcoin right now looks like a child's play when you compare this to the real big boys out there. Still, Bitcoin has done remarkably well, but when you really consider what's happening, so keep that in mind, right? And here's what I said today, and it makes a lot of sense. And I've put this into the Discord. So Davos is the main focus for everybody, and of course, I did say this is on Sunday's report. I did say this is no Venezuela. It's going to impact the market, but is this where we really are? So of course, Denmark, now their biggest treasury company, is dumping $100 million worth of US treasuries. Now, what's the impact of this $100 million? Denmark actually holds around $10 billion in US treasuries. That's absolutely peanuts. That makes no impact into what's about to happen. So that equates roughly to about 0.1%. Right? 0.1% of the foreign ownership of US treasuries. So Denmark can't do nothing. Now, collectively, Europe, will Europe go and fight against the US on this particular issue? They could sell these treasuries, but the effect will be negligible. So when it comes to Trump, the biggest problem for people interested in mainstream politics is that they barely any of them know or want to know the intricacies of the dollar system. And that this is why, whether Trump acquires Denmark or Canada or Venezuela or any other country for that matter, or any, I don't know, Cuba, we know what the US did in Central and Latin America back in the days, the Contra Wars, banana republics, all of that, right? And it's all to do with the reserve currency globally. That's what the fight is. So Trump and his MAGA team are hell-bent on pushing this idea that foreign nations have been ripping off America for decades. But to be fair, no one's ripping off America. Instead, America has been abusing its power for too long by elevating the standards of living versus the rest of the world. There is some facts to that. However, no one's ready to move to the gold standard. Now, I know some Asian countries have tried this, but they failed. So this is where really, like, when you look at this, this is a post from Peter Schiff. So Trump has it backwards. The US doesn't subsidize the world. The world subsidizes the US. Now, we don't really want to get into the intricacies of that, but it does involve a vast network of, banking system and other things to keep the dollar secure and supreme. So in light of that, guys, what the real problem was, and I talked about this in a video, and obviously this is on the Discord as well. Is Greenland a real distraction of what's going on? And the chances are, because the bond markets have been, look, the 30-year fixed mortgages, housing costs, credits, they've all gone up. And this is exactly the opposite to the Fed rate cuts. So what do we do here? You can see clearly that the bonds are rising, demand for government debt is falling, the dollar is selling off, Bitcoin is selling off, Max 7 tech stocks are also selling off. Now, in addition to that, you have another problem where Bitcoin is not yet a mature asset by all standards. I mean, crypto standards, yes, it is. But this is what I said today. Bitcoin's caught between being an indecisive macro regime. So volatility, it still hasn't really stood on its own feet. And that's where a lot of our problems are right now. So it's not a matter of Bitcoin doing a daily move to the upside or the downside. This is a long game, in my opinion. I think this is a longer macro game. I think, like I said, you've got time. God has given every one of us time to do the research, to find out what projects are going to benefit from the next wave of the market. And while all of the noise is played out, the real battle is being fought in this at this macro level. And I do agree. I think there's some stuff that yes, Peter, I do agree that this is a 2030 cycle. I have honestly, and Cave as well. Yeah, markets will start pumping soon. Facts. It is almost inconceivable for the amount of money that goes into these markets. There is actually something that a key interview today, and let me see if I can just find. Let's see if I can find this. This is you really got to listen to this, because the guys at the helm, they know QE. This is a crazy interview from Scott Bessent. And if I find this would be pretty cool. Because the guys at the top, they understand how they're going to squeeze this game, right? They know, again, if you're not in altcoins and you are, if you are in stable coins, just stay in them for a while. But there was, I wish I can find that. Bessent basically saying, not only Greenland, but we are going to be pushing a massive move for quantitative easing. I think they will rig it, guys. These guys need a crazy amount of work to do in order to go to the midterms. Otherwise, they're cooked. So I think all of this is bluff, but they will run this market like basically just to say, I told you so, because they are going to be printing heavily after the changes in May. They are already printing, but I think to the extent of this is going to be ridiculous. Let me see if I find it anyway. He basically goes off. I was watching an interview today. he was betting on some crazy numbers. So basically, what he was talking about was the amount of money that they need to print because of what Powell did. Such a good interview. I'll find it. Maybe I'll post it somewhere. Well, this was crazy stuff, man. I was listening to this guy thinking, he was saying Section said it could go into recession if the Fed refuses to lower tariffs. Now, that wasn't the time, fixing the Fed tariffs. This is insane, man. These guys are openly telling us what they're going to do. So the way he went on about, from what I remember, was he was saying how basically they are going to make these funds available to certain institutions, and they're going to force them to buy equities and risky assets. So if they look, at the end of the day, if they are rigging the game in that manner, I think this is a cycle definitely to be able to look at things beyond the next kind of few days, for sure. And he just canceled the tariffs on the EU. Holy moly. Maybe that's why we're seeing these crazy candles. Certainly. I mean, look at this. Let's go to the lower time frames. Trump EU. Maybe Barron's taking along. There was also, I mean, to be fair, the Europeans said they were going to cancel the, they were going to cancel these tariffs. So EU suspends approval of US trade deal. The move follows the renewed tension. EU Parliament blocks the trade deal after Trump tariffs threat. I mean, there will be massive moves based on that. But I don't think, I mean, listen, there's also this idea that they're gonna replace Powell. I don't think Powell's going anywhere. But if he cancels the tariffs, man, market's gonna go nuts. Regardless. So Putin came out. I don't know if you guys saw as well. Putin came out, and the Russians were like supporting this Trump move onto Greenland. Let's see. So that's what's going on now. Let's go back to the daily. Today's a wild day, man. Get above 90K. Please. But that's crazy, man. Taking liquidity there, 87. I think this is on Coinbase. We've taken the $87,000 level. To drop the markets low. Pete, listen, bro, we're built differently, man. Honestly. Damn, man, I was preparing for $50,000 Bitcoin, right? And that's exactly, that's the point, right? You never know what's going to happen. If you're married to this game, then it is an oath for life, because you cannot make decisions on these short-term events. I think it's about liquidity. I think we're incredibly lucky now where the prices are. Even if the prices go down a little bit, we are incredibly fortunate to be alive this time, to understand what certain projects can do and take it from there. But yeah, I agree with you, man. If people say, oh, we're in a bear market, yes, if we're in a bear market, my thinking is so be it. what I have is fundamentally strong coins anyway. Who cares if we're so-called friends for 250 years? There's no friends. If they can go much lower. Oh, man. Yeah, guys, look, I'm telling you, man, we're built differently. We're the only crew that come here and say, fuck, dump this shit. Because I don't mind being generationally wealthy if I'm honest with you. So let's squeeze out Michael Saylor. Yeah, of course. At that level, bro. Bro, honestly, you know, I met this guy in Abu Dhabi, and you would think, obviously, someone on that level. I don't know, man. When you become that kind of money, I think you start to lose joy for life, right? So it's kind of weird. Like, I met this guy at the Michael Saylor at the Bitcoin conference, and honestly, you know, the richer they are, the more fucked up they are as human beings. So we don't want to be that rich, but boy, oh boy, give me generational wealth. I don't care. From here to 2030, man, it's it's a great time to be alive, in my opinion. Zen. Oh, bro. Zen is last time. I mean, it went really spectacular for a little bit for me. Let me show you the Mexi chart. So if you look at this, I kind of bought in around $8 something. Well, that was my average anyway. But I would love this to come down to this demand zone again. But it's been there. Look, it's been there for a minute. Strong candle there. We could still get a, you know, lower highs and lower lows. So we probably will at least come back down to about this, between this 8 and my ideal buying point here would be to absolutely collect as much as I can, depending on the weekly RSI, which is ticking up anyway. This was the bottom, man. That's $6 around this $6 level. So it's not going to be, I mean, even at $10, 21 million tokens, 17 million circulating, base layer 3 has all of the fundamentals that, not as big, but has similar fundamentals to Zcash. What I love about it now is, since they migrated to the base layer 3, I think they became a lot more attractive for basically for this privacy this privacy narrative. You can see the chart here is at all-time, you know. So look, this goes back to 2018, 2017. It is an OG coin. Now, what makes it special, in my opinion anyway, is a lot of the base privacy infrastructure is coming on here. So, you know, this is going to be, I think, within the Coinbase ecosystem anyway. If they want to run it, they will run Horizon as their privacy coin, right? Because after all, it is base backed. So that's going to be quite interesting to see how this grows overall. And in terms of their white paper, by the way, the price still relatively the same. Sorry if I've not given you a proper update on the price, but the price remains the same, right? More or less. But what's important is to understand what it really does, and ultimately, Horizon, I think, will be quite important. Not just because I like it, but because I've researched it, and it just has the same vibe as the other big blockchains for privacy. So if I give you see, extract, summarize. So yeah, it's pretty fast, pretty secure. It's considered to be a layer 3 on base, and I think that's going to be okay. I haven't even displayed this. I apologize. Why can't I share the screen? I adore you. Share screen. Bumbleclad, where you at? Sorry, guys, I lost some of the comments. See these bad boys here. Yeah, bring it down, I say, bro. Yo, Mr. Gregory, Wagwan, brother, what's going on? Hope the family's well, man. Hoping for, this is why I think a lot of people that are, I was hoping for a red few months. we get as much of these coins as possible. Especially the guys, look, anyone who's working, who's obviously, you know, things are tight out there. It's difficult for families right now. So if you have, you know, the longer the game, the better really it is. The industry is not going to die. You know, there's no real collapse here. I had plastic. That's good. Bro, honestly, you will, bro. God willing. Mr. Gregory. Oh, Pete. America will get Venezuela, Greenland, Cuba, Russia, Ukraine, China, Taiwan. Hey, if anyone can, right? Hey, anyone seen the new Sui website? Sui's looking rather good. Of course, I've done a video about the recent kind of issues, but they've done a pretty good refresh here. Because most of the time it was Sui Foundation landing page, which is just not doing this any justice. So they've literally redesigned the website. And it looks much better now. Showing that modular Walrus trusted data layer. I think Walrus has to be watched. You know what else is going to be quite important for agentic future moves? I think grass has got to be researched a little bit more, guys. Grass is not what we think, right? It is absolutely capable of providing of providing certain advantages to AI agents. I did actually I skim read a bit of research, but we need to see obviously how they want to pivot. You know, privacy, security. There's something about AI agents that I read, and I think that's going to be where we need to watch what they do next. But certainly, I mean, some of these existing currencies, look, Grass Network, where was it? Forget the uptime. Where was the AI agents? Directly from Grass Foundation, WinLab service provider executing mandates. Yeah, I've got to find that research. But apparently they were doing something to provide more intelligence to AI agents, and there was going to be some kind of a supportive layer for stuff like network and real-time product updates for AI agents. So we'll definitely see where grass sits at the end of the long-term cycle. Of course, outstanding tokens, 200 million tokens outstanding. So, and the chart looks not so sexy. But sometimes it's all about the additional announcements, right? Came exactly that way. Yeah, it's gonna be a multipolar world, right? Ultimately led by America. But if you look at this, I mean,
this is Greenland. It's the largest island in the world, but for decades it was overlooked. A seemingly irrelevant, remote, frozen wasteland owned by Denmark. But since Trump came to office, he's been obsessed with trying to take it, even floating the idea of buying it outright. Up until now, those attempts haven't exactly worked out. This time, however, things are looking very different. A couple of years ago, the idea of forcibly seizing territory from a NATO ally would have been totally unthinkable. But with the US invading Venezuela, detaining its president, and facing little more than diplomatic outrage in response, it's become abundantly clear that those old rules don't seem to apply anymore. And Trump is clearly punch-drunk on the idea of expanding America's reach. If he were to decide to take the island by force, it doesn't seem like anybody could stop him, something which looks more and more likely by the day. Trump himself claimed the US needs Greenland, and even joked about plans to make Greenland great again. Yet the real reasons for his obsession with the island are far more abrupt. Greenland's location is unique, sitting almost halfway between North America and Europe, and within touching distance of some of the most strategic waters in the world. But the thing is, the US already has military bases here, and if they wanted more, they could probably just ask Denmark and be allowed. Trump's interest comes from something else. Beneath its icy surface lies an abundance of rare earth minerals, and potentially some of the largest oil deposits in the world, with an estimated value of upwards of $4 trillion, around 20% of the entire past production of the United States. Geographic, military, and economic potential have transformed this icy island into one of the biggest geopolitical flashpoints of the last decade. But it's not just the US who have noticed this, it's Russia and China too. In the last few years, their presence in the Arctic has exploded. Both have invested billions in the region, from an Arctic Silk Road project to even bidding on vital infrastructure in Greenland itself. As this threat grows, the US is getting increasingly desperate and increasingly unpredictable, which raises a deeper question. What is it about Greenland that made it so valuable, and why is the US willing to risk so much to secure it? To understand this relationship, we first need to go back in time. Believe it or not, this isn't the first time the USA has tried to buy Greenland. You see, Greenland is owned by Denmark, but in World War II, they were invaded by Nazi Germany, and suddenly the island and the United States was at risk. Before this, there had been plans to buy Greenland and Iceland, but here is where they first entered the scene, being granted the right to protect the island against non-US powers, and even set up radio stations and military posts. And when the war ended, the United States decided that they quite liked having a foothold in Greenland. And so they made an offer to Denmark, $100 million in gold, worth around $1.6 billion in today's money. But to the US's surprise, they were told no. Instead, what they could do was keep a military presence here, and essentially keep protecting the island from a new threat, the Soviet Union. And so in 1953, they set up this airbase here, in northern Greenland, with around 10,000 US personnel. And they didn't stop there, setting up many more across the island, marking the northernmost outpost for the American military.
It's all about mining.
It's easy to see why. Because of the curvature of the Earth, these positions were sometimes just 3,000 miles from Moscow, and were crucial for providing a line of defense and radar against the Soviet Union, and also served as the perfect spot to launch high-altitude reconnaissance missions into enemy territory. It seemed like the US would keep expanding its presence on the island. But then the Cold War ended. And in the 90s, American interest kind of faded. Equipment was abandoned, and even whole towns were sold for as little as $1. It seemed like this sparsely populated island would slowly fade away again. But that has all changed. After patrolling Greenland's coastal waters, researchers from the US Geological Society made an enormous discovery. Back in 2008, they estimated Greenland could hold over 52 billion barrels of oil. To put that into perspective, in 2023, the United States has proven reserves of 47 billion barrels. If these estimates are correct, Greenland has the potential to double the United States reserves. And even if those calculations are off, it's still incredibly valuable. Oil is the black gold which makes the world go round, and it's at the center of nearly every aspect of daily life, providing the primary energy source for transportation, manufacturing, and other essential activities. But most of global oil production is dominated by a few key players, but they don't always see eye to eye with the United States. And since the 2010s, American oil production has exploded in an effort to protect national security. It's estimated that 13% of the undiscovered oil and 30% of the gas worldwide is in the Arctic, along with a host of other resources. As a result, Arctic nations, including the US, have become very interested into tapping into these resources to facilitate economic growth, generate revenue, and protect economic interests. The retreat of sea ice and glacial melt is making these resources more and more accessible, and Greenland serves as the perfect space to take advantage of this. But there is a problem. Greenland doesn't want to extract the oil. In July 2021, they banned all new oil and gas exploration, citing environmental concerns and high extraction costs as the main reason for the ban, stating the price of oil extraction is just too high. But if we know one thing about Trump, is that he doesn't really believe in climate change, and he is often called it at times a hoax, and promotes mantras like drill baby drill. So it seems that Greenland's value is far more than just strategic. But believe in it or not, ice levels in the Arctic have been receding, and that is changing the way we view the area. You see, most of our planet is covered in water, but not up here in Greenland. This ocean has always been frozen and inaccessible to anyone who wants to cross it by boat, apart from under very specific circumstances. But as more carbon has entered the air, more and more heat is being trapped in the Earth, and it's been heating the globe. Just by a few degrees, but by enough to make some significant changes, reducing the level of ice every single year. The Arctic Ocean specifically is heating 4 times faster than anywhere else on the planet.
Damn.
And it's completely changing the way the geopolitical game is being played. Melting ice is uncovering new shipping lanes, like the Northwest Passage. These Arctic routes are dramatically shorter than traditional ones. And right in the heart of almost all of these routes is Greenland, placed directly to take advantage of this. For example, a journey from Asia to Europe through the Arctic could cut weeks of global shipping times compared to routes through the Suez or Panama canals. These savings in time and fuel could revolutionize global trade and tilt economic power towards the countries who control the seas, meaning any country who controls them controls the world's supply of goods, of which 80% travels by sea. And in just the last 10 years alone, the number of ships passing through the Arctic has already increased by 30%, a number which will only get bigger. But unfortunately for the United States, they are not the only player making moves in the Arctic. And this is part of the reason why Trump has labeled Greenland as critical for the future of the United States security. In recent years, Russia has...
Yo, that's insane, bro. Like there's a lot. If these waters melt, right? If these ice sheets melt, anyway, global sea levels will rise. You know, cities like New York will be under immense. In fact, half of New York will be underwater. It'd be like the day after tomorrow kind of scenario where there's crazy weather. But is that Zilla in the building? Yo, Zilla, what is good, bro? What is happening? Long time, man. Brother, Happy New Year. And to you and the family. Yo, big up to my South African brother as well. Of course, Amazing love to you and the family, bro, and of course to the community. And yeah, Venezuela should be up there. And shocked that we haven't found enough gold. Yeah, to be honest, so there is, of course, it is finite, like you said earlier, but there is also, like, you could always explore, especially in the oceans and places like that. But yeah, it's kind of weird. Like the world is running out of resources. That's why a lot of it's going to be, the new frontier will be in space after we run out of after we run out of what we need here on Earth. And I think there are already startups right now mining asteroids and shit. The world is kind of like space mining starts up to see a rich future, asteroids on and the moon as well. So it won't be long before, I believe there is one Chinese probe right now on the moon that's potentially digging up the moon for resources. But isn't it crazy how business drives all of this? Human greed is unimaginable, right? Absolutely insane. But yeah, coming back to these projects, man. I mean, all I can tell you about this one, guys, the privacy narrative is going to be pretty big in 2026, 27, whenever. And one of the reasons why, because people in the Discord have been asking me why I like Zen, for example, right? So privacy first applications, institutional grade. When you think of Coinbase, you think of institutions, right? Coinbase is the home of they are the Bitcoin custodians. And basically what they have is they've got something called Zendesk, which is a high performance DEX using zero knowledge proofs. They've got another thing called Gambler, which is a privacy focused gaming platform, or gambling platform, as we call it, games, with no KYC requirements. They've got something called Obscure. So they've got a social trading platform with anonymity, with verified performance metrics. And their main categories are DeFi and financial services. So multiple projects, including what they call Lighter. I think it's called Lighter IM. They work with Stratos as well, Polypay, and a few others. Infrastructure, they've got base layer 2. So they are considered to be layer 3. And they use ZK I think they use ZK and of course, omni-chain messaging. Exchanges, integration with Grayscale, Coinbase, of course, Binance, Bitget, and all of that. And I think I think they have Grayscale ETF. So it's kind of funny because they are ZK verifiable, ZK proof verification. And in a nutshell, that's what they do. So they're tackling an area of the market for privacy. So some of the things that's going to happen, guys, is that the reason why I believe 2026 and beyond privacy will become important, there is a risk where privacy gets delisted. And of course, you saw Dubai banning the likes of Monero a couple of weeks ago. Let me just find. But what happens is if done correctly, this was on CoinDesk. Dubai bans privacy tokens. So this is what you're going to run into when it comes to privacy coins like Monero. The financial regulator here said that the privacy-focused assets are incompatible with global compliance norms. Of course, banking here is very strict. The Dubai Financial Services Authority. But what you have is, if you go strict privacy like Monero, you do risk. You definitely do risk some kind of what do you call, the authorities coming down on you. But in my opinion, I think the option for multiple privacy, or opt-in privacy as such, I think will be massive. So you've got to really, really look into that. And big up Tony as well. Tony said ZBCN. Yep, got listed on Coinbase, and it's one of the great things is, people complain about bear markets and stuff. Bear market is when wealth is made. Anybody who disagrees with that don't know what they're talking about. I think the best time in crypto is, if you can get it right, is a bear market. Because in a bear market, you can do your research in time, you can DCA. Most people are paycheck to paycheck anyway. So you can DCA, and you have no excuses to fail, because you are taking your time in understanding what coins you want, what the narratives are, and you're relying on yourself to do the work while not putting yourself under pressure to miss the bear market. To miss the bull market. But ZBEC is a DPIN/RWA token with a service level point of sales and real world solution for payrolls. And they have a card and all the other stuff. It's not important nowadays. I mean, everyone and their dog has a card, to be fair. It's not unique, but it does help if it's in your ecosystem. So payroll, DPIN, and specifically for business, I think it's going to do very, very well. And this listed here on Coinbase, and they attended, I think, Davos as well. So they are with the payroll fees, enterprise adoption. When projects are making regular kind of appearances in places like the World Economic Forum, you've got to take note, man. And of course, being on Coinbase, I think it's going to do wonderfully. So don't listen to the noise. You plant seeds, whatever industry you're in, whether you're in stocks, whether you have a real business, you plant the seeds and you let it grow. Just because the market is going in a particular direction don't mean shit. Yes, Peter, it will definitely shine, brother. And this is why it's always important to take advantage, right? Yeah, we need more meat. We need to see we need to come across as dinosaurs, right? Facts. We need to do one of them Yucatan Peninsula ones. Mash it up. That's a good one, man. But yeah, boys, look, regardless of what happens in the next 24, 48 hours, people are always going to come out and scream either direction. Don't listen to the noise. Quietly get on with your business. Do your business. Buy your coins and, bring your average down. Go from a month to a month. And you be good. Sorry, I missed a bunch of comments. Yeah, let's get more meteor showers. But anyway, guys, great stream. Thank you to each and every single one of you. As always, stay family. And like I said, man, 1 minute we cried, the markets are up. The next minute we want more discounts. Doesn't matter, man. MicroStrategy right now at 76,000 average. Select your coins and buy chunks. Still using money to go out, still taking your family out, doing whatever you have to do to enjoy your life, and plant your seeds and let it grow. You know, don't listen to anyone who tells you that this or that. It doesn't even matter. We're going to get more liquidity. I will find, hopefully, the Besant interview, because I think that's a really, really powerful one. It's basically talking about quantitative easing, you know, in the likes like we've never seen before, and forcing companies to buy assets before we ultimately shoot up. You know, that's the Treasury Secretary right there, man. So all of these, you know, some of these will come good. A lot of cryptocurrencies will die, and the ultimate survival will be just believing in something and holding it enough. I kid you not, I held, just before I wrap things up, I was holding Dusk with Muzzy in our group and I, we bought, and I held this in a different wallet anyway. So I was like, fuck it, man, I'm just going to hold it. Anyway, guys, so I ended up doing some ridiculous, I had a pretty low average. I bought this at the depths. And then the other day, I was just alerted. I was like, what? Nearly 500% up. And what it has is, again, privacy features. It's one of the smallest market cap, you know, institutional coins on Binance, right? And for time, this, you know, everybody thought it rugged. And it was in my wallet. And before you know, they really, really got into the privacy. It's now rated as a privacy coin and a privacy blockchain. So what happened was, I was like, fuck, man, like how on earth did I just do like a 450% move on this? You know? And the truth is that happens to your portfolio from time to time. It wasn't, I didn't really plan it, but I remember doing a buy lead a while ago and I forgot to actually kick it out. Then I ended up buying a little bit more. Before you know, it just turned out to be one of the best surprises that I've had recently. You know, so it is sometimes it's luck, sometimes it's patience, but above all, the one thing you can't do without is buy the same tokens and chill. Nathan, what's going on, brother? Hope you well, Mr. Nathan Jackson. Calm in the storm. Yeah, absolutely, bro. Absolutely. We're just getting started, man. And even if we've been in a bear market, which I believe we firmly have, I mean, if you look at certain charts, you'd absolutely, you know, this is not a bull market chart at all. Had few peaks. Beam USDT. I mean, look at Beam. Bumper cloud. Beam is gone, man. Look at that. If you can't buy Beam here and hold it for a gaming season, I think you can make a crazy 20, 30, 40, 50x on this one. Not financial advice. But look at that. Beam is below, see, the lowest that it got to. I mean, what are we doing here, Beam? Right? It's crazy. But when you see assets like this, and you look at this and you see these order blocks here, resistance everywhere. It's not even the right Beam I'm looking at. Beam is the one with the rainbow in it. You know, back in the days, yeah, a big shout out to that community, but I used to think, raw, Beam is a batty man. Look, Beam's at the lowest since launch. Shit, like that early candle there. If you can't trust charts like this to be able to go back and do crazy stuff, then you shouldn't really be in crypto. Oh, broski, damn. It's yeah, Beam as well. But yeah, Carrot was absolutely. I mean, to be fair, the some of those small coins I mean, I don't know. I wonder what they did with the Arbitrum studio money. I mean, it looks like it's done, right? Volume of 120,000. But yeah, this one's absolutely fuckeries, really. But that's why, honestly, we will make money back. It just depends on what tokens we go into overall. I've been buying mostly good, solid, stuff that I can hold for 10 years. 10 years is a long time in crypto, but one day we'll look back and say, look, 2030, man, next 4 years, I own I don't know, 50, 20, 10 Bitcoin towels. I think that's the way you got to look at it. I genuinely believe stuff like this is going to go nuts. It's going to give you a hard on every night, boys. Oh, that's a Tau whale over there. That guy bought Bitcoin Tau, and now it's at $50,000 a pop. Can you imagine? I mean, look, if we were doing this, say 10 years ago, 10 years ago, probably. Imagine, the guy who said Bitcoin is dumped to, $2 or something, and he sold 10,000 Bitcoin, or the guy who bought 10,000 Bitcoin for one pizza on pizza day. It's fucked up, man. All right, boys, I'm going to go and get me some nice little beverage. But I wish you a wonderful night, and yeah, we'll see each other on the next one. But big up yourselves. Oh, damn, $4,500 now, $87. Shit, bro. That's insane, man. Fuck. Anyway, on that note, God bless you all. And yeah, listen, send me a DM, man. We need to chat. But yeah, big up to every single one of you guys. Peter, Playboy, Zilla, and everyone else. Steve there. Who else is there? Nathan, all of you guys. Anyway, I'll catch you on the next one. Good night, boys. End this thing.